America is a nation built on immigration, a beacon of hope for those seeking a better life. However, our porous borders and lax enforcement have created a crisis.
Unchecked illegal immigration is no longer a trickle, but a flood, and the consequences are devastating for American citizens. Our schools, hospitals, and social services are overwhelmed. Wages are stagnant while crime rates soar.
The time for denial is over. We can no longer ignore the millions who have entered our country illegally, straining our resources and undermining our national identity. It's time to acknowledge the problem and demand solutions that put American citizens first.
Legal immigration strengthens our nation, but illegal immigration weakens it. It's time to restore order at the border, enforce our laws, and prioritize the needs of American citizens.
One of the most immediate impacts of unchecked illegal immigration is felt in the American workforce. Jobs that were once readily available to American citizens are now being filled by illegal immigrants willing to work for lower wages.
Construction, agriculture, and service industries are particularly hard hit, with employers often turning a blind eye to immigration status in the name of profit. The strain on affordable housing is undeniable.
Homelessness is on the rise, a direct result of the pressure exerted by illegal immigration on an already strained system. The competition for jobs and housing is fierce, and American citizens are finding themselves on the losing end. The promise of a good job and a safe, affordable place to live is becoming increasingly elusive for those who play by the rules. This breeds resentment and frustration, creating a powder keg of social tension that threatens the fabric of our society.
It's an uncomfortable truth, but one that cannot be ignored. Unchecked illegal immigration fuels criminal activity.
Drug trafficking in particular thrives on porous borders and lax enforcement. Cartels and gangs exploit the vulnerabilities of our immigration system, flooding our streets with dangerous narcotics and perpetrating violence with impunity. The human cost is staggering. American communities are ravaged by drug addiction, overdoses, and gang violence.
The safety and security that every American deserves is eroded by the lawlessness that accompanies unchecked illegal immigration. Sanctuary cities, with their refusal to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement, further exacerbate the problem. This disregard for the rule of law emboldens criminals and puts innocent lives at risk.
Section 4, Spreading Ourselves Thin, the Strain on American Resources. America has always been a generous nation, but our generosity is being exploited. Illegal immigrants, ineligible for most forms of public assistance, still utilize public resources like emergency rooms and schools, placing a tremendous burden on taxpayers.
Hospitals are overwhelmed with patients who cannot pay, forcing them to raise costs for everyone. Schools struggle to educate children who don't speak English and often lack proper documentation. The quality of education and healthcare for American citizens suffers.
These vital services, meant to support Americans in need, are buckling under the weight of unchecked illegal immigration. Welfare programs are strained, with limited resources spread thin, trying to meet the needs of both citizens and non-citizens. This unsustainable situation threatens to bankrupt our social programs, leaving Americans in genuine need without a lifeline. Section 5. Across the Pond. A look at Europe's immigration solutions. The United States is not alone in grappling with the challenges of illegal immigration. European countries have faced their own struggles with varying degrees of success.
Some, like Hungary, have taken a hardline approach, erecting border fences and implementing strict immigration policies. Others, like Germany, initially welcomed migrants with open arms, only to experience a surge in crime and social unrest.
Social cohesion has been fractured, cultural identities diluted, and national security threatened. The United States would be wise to learn from these mistakes and chart a different course.
England, once a bastion of open borders, has also experienced a change of heart. The Brexit vote was, in part, a referendum on immigration, with many citizens expressing concerns about the impact of uncontrolled immigration on their way of life.
Section 6, an abdication of duty, the government's failure to protect its own. The primary responsibility of any government is to protect its citizens. Yet, when it comes to illegal immigration, the American government has failed spectacularly. Politicians more concerned with scoring political points than protecting their constituents have allowed this crisis to fester for decades.
They have turned a blind eye to porous borders, incentivized illegal crossings with promises of amnesty, and demonized those who dare to speak out against this unsustainable status quo. This is not compassion, it's cowardice. The American people deserve leaders who will put their needs first, who will secure the border, enforce our laws, and restore order to our immigration system.
Until that happens, the crisis will continue to escalate and American citizens will continue to bear the brunt of the consequences. It's time to demand action. Call your elected officials, make your voice heard, and vote for those who prioritize the well-being of American citizens.